Hi everyone, it's Bethany. Welcome back to my channel. In this video, I am really excited because I'm going to take you along with me as I make my very first mugs on the Cricut Mug Press. So the Cricut Mug Press was just released. I was so excited when I saw the news that it was coming out because, as you know, I love to create coffee mugs. You've seen so many tutorials for coffee mugs on my channel, and I've been making them with adhesive vinyl up until this point. So I love making coffee mugs for just about everybody. I make them for friends and family. I think they are the perfect go-to gift. What I haven't enjoyed about making coffee mugs with adhesive vinyl is the little disclaimer that I have to tell people when I'm handing it to them. I'm always warning them, please hand wash this only, please avoid the dishwasher, please also avoid the microwave, and it seems like I have this little ramble every time I hand them the beautiful coffee mug that I created them. So now with the Cricut Mug Press, I'm so excited that we get to actually create mugs with Infusible ink because now they will be dishwasher safe and microwave safe. So let's get started making some mugs with the new Cricut Mug Press, and be sure to stay tuned to the end because I'll give you my honest review on what I think of my first time using it and if I think it's worth it. Let's go ahead and get started. On the home screen of Cricut Design Space, you will see they have a little section for the new Cricut Mug Press, or at least they do at the time of filming this video. So I am going to use the custom mug design setup option because I would like to make a custom mug with the design that I choose and create. So you can also do other designs that are pre-done for you. If you want a quicker option, you can do that as well. And there's also another way to find these as well if you would like to use pre-made options, which I'll show you in just a second. In the canvas screen, if you click on images, you can find more pre-made mug designs by going to all images in the top left and then searching in image sets. In image sets, if you scroll down just a little bit, or if you type into the search engine, there are many image sets that have mug designs pre-made. So here are some that are already loaded in. And of course, I'm sure they will come out with more in the future, but here is 32 images for abstract designs. Here are mug design starters, and these are the titles of those image sets in case you want to type them into the search engine. This one's called Mug Designs, Full Mug Designs, and Coffee and Tea Mug Designs. So they have a lot of options. They also have full monograms for the mugs, and this will be using the pen, and mug monograms, lots of fun things for mugs. So they have thought of everything. You have a lot of options if you just want to click, grab, and go instead of customizing your mug. But again, I want to customize my own today, so I am going to use the Mug Design Setup option. I'm going to click that, and then this is really fun because it's going to allow you to choose the finish. So if you click on this little drop down, it's going to give a lot of options. Each option has a small and large option if you have the 12-ounce mug or the 15-ounce mug blank. So the first mug I'm going to do is the 15-ounce, and then I will show you how to design a 12-ounce, and that one's going to be really fun, and it's going to be a little bit trickier, so if you are ready for a challenge, then the next mug is going to get a little trickier. Okay, so I thought we'd start with the easy one. So you can click, and these are straight, so you have a straight edge up in your preview right here. Then you have a ripped edge, which is really fun. It looks like it's torn. And then the next is a scallop, a wavy, or a zigzag, and I'll let you go ahead and preview those yourself. For this first one, I am going to use the ripped edge. I think that will be really fun. So I will click on that. Again, I'm going to click the 15-ounce option because that's going to be the size of the first mug we will make. So I have that selected, then I can say customize. Then it brings my template into Cricut Design Space. It's really important that you know that the templates are already sized for the mugs. So you do not want to do any resizing. You will also see that they have little drawings on the top here. These are meant to be hidden before you actually do any cutting. So you can hide those before sending it to your machine to cut. But they are guides so that you can line up your design on your mug. So this little line right here is going to help you line up your design if you want it on the side with the handle that's placed on the right. This in the middle is going to be the exact middle of your mug, or if the handle is on the opposite side of your mug, and again correspondingly if your handle is over on this side, this is where you would line up your design this way. So we'll use those in this first design. So the first thing I would like to do is go into images, and I am going to type in dad, just because there is a really fun image that I want to base my design off. So I'm going to select this and I will say insert images. Now my husband gets lots of mugs, but I am going to make one for myself this time, and then of course I will make him some in the future. I think everybody's going to get a mug for the foreseeable future because this is going to be really fun. Okay, so now what I would like to do is I am going to contour this image, and I want to hide all contours and just use this X in the middle. So I will go ahead and do that, take those out so that I just have this X. Then I'm going to go over to text. I'm going to use the font Kate's ABC Baby Girl, so I will just type in Kate's and click enter, select the font I'd like, and then I am going to type out mom. Okay, that's all ready to go. This is a double layer font, so I can go ahead and just delete one of the layers because I'm only using one. And then I am going to take my letters, make them bigger. I'm going to size them together so that they're all the same size. Once they are sized how I'd like them, I'm going to click Ungroup, which is in the top of the Layers panel, and then I can move my letters where I would like them. Okay, I think I have my letters a little too big, so in order to resize them, again, I want to make sure I size them all at the same time, so I have all of them selected. I'm going to just bring those down just a little bit, and that's about right. Okay, so now I just need to work on my spacing. This looks good, and that looks good. Okay, for my two M's, I'm going to select those, and I'm just going to say align, and I will say align bottom, just so that I know that they are lined up together. Okay, those visually look really good to me. Now what I would like to do is go into images to select a heart. So I will just type in heart to the search engine, and the heart selection is very extensive. There are so many, so I'm going to quickly browse through and see which one I really like, and it's this one right here. I will insert my image, and then I'm going to put the heart down in the bottom. Okay, this is so cute. I've actually wanted to make this design for a while, so this seemed like the perfect opportunity to do it. So for today's video, we are only working with one colored designs. So be sure you're subscribed because the next video that I do, we will be doing mugs with multiple colors, and I'll show you how to layer Infusible ink to use multiple boxes of Infusible ink and get fun with lots of different colors for colorful designs. But for today's, we're just going to keep it simple and do one color. So what I need to do now is I need to take my entire design and weld it together. Okay, so here's my design. How cute. Now I can use these little grids to help me line up my design. So that's a little big. I'm going to bring it down just a little. Okay, and that is looking pretty good to me. I can even elongate that just a little bit and center a little bit better. Okay, so I am going to stick with that. Now I actually do want this design to be on the other side of my mug as well, so that no matter which side it's facing, there is a design to be shown off. So I'm going to take my design and I am going to say duplicate, and then I'm going to place it on the other side of my mug as well. How cute. Okay, so now I can select both of my designs, and I just want to make sure that I align bottom to make sure they're lined up. Okay, and then I'm going to bring those up just a hair together. Okay, that looks great to me. Now what I want to do is I am going to weld them together because I want to next slice them out of my design. And when slicing, you can only slice 2 layers at a time. So I have my 2 designs. I'm going to select weld to make them 1 layer. Then I can go ahead and hide my little grids because I did all of my alignment, so that's just fine. And now I'm going to slice. So I'm going to take my design, and I'm going to take my background, which is that ripped edge, and I'm going to come down and say slice. Okay, so now it's sliced my design out, and I have my little template all ready to go. So I'm doing it so that my Infusible ink is everything that is this teal color. You could also have your Infusible ink just be the words or letters, but I really wanted my mug to be really colorful. Okay, so I'm going to delete all of my little slice results, and then I want to make sure these line up again. So I am going to select both, and then I am going to say align and center, and that makes sure that it's centered on my template. Now, one of the most important things now is that I come and attach them together so that everything is as it's shown and will cut as shown on my screen. Now I'm going to use my Cricut Joy. I'll say make it, and then I am going to place it on a mat. My infusible ink will go on a mat. Even if it's Smart Material infusible ink, it still goes on a mat, and say done. Then of course we are going to mirror our image because we always mirror when we're using infusible ink, and then say continue. Okay, for material selection, I'll browse all materials. I will type in Infusible into this search engine right up at the top and click enter, and then my selection I'll use is Infusible Ink Transfer Sheet and say done. Once more, I did mirror my image, so we're all set. So I will load my infusible ink onto my mat for my Cricut Joy, and we'll get everything cut out. Okay, so I'm going to be using this full-size infusible ink called Pink Lemonade. I think it will be super fun, and I love pink, so it was an obvious choice. And when you open up your box, you will see a black sleeve, and inside that sleeve you will find your infusible ink transfer sheets. Now it's really important that your hands are very clean and dry, and they're free from any oils or lotions because you don't want to smudge the ink. So make sure that your hands are washed and completely dry before touching it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim this down so it fits within my machine. So again, we're using the Cricut Joy. And also I want to remind you that if you have any scraps left over, which you naturally will for this project, you want to make sure that you roll them up and place them back into this sleeve and then store them in the box just so that they stay dark and dry and they'll be ready to go for the next time. So now I will place my infusible ink right onto my mat. I cut my sheet down to a width of 4.5 inches just so it fit perfectly on my Joy mat. And then I'm using my brayer tool just to make sure that my infusible ink is really, really tightly down on the mat and ready to be placed into the Joy. Okay, so while that's cutting, I'm going to go ahead and turn on my mug press by just selecting the on button, and then it will chime when it is ready and all preheated. I'm so excited. This is my very first mug. It took me forever actually to decide which design to do or what I wanted to do just because I was so excited and I wanted the first design to be really fun. I can't wait for you to see the second mug design that I'm going to be doing, and we'll be doing the smaller mugs, and I really, really am excited about that design because we're going to be doing a full wrap, and that will be really, really fun to show you how to design a full wrap for the mug. Okay, and so here's my little 15-ounce mug. I really wanted to mention that I am really pleasantly surprised with the pricing of their mugs. I thought that they were very reasonably priced. In fact, before they announced the price, I actually thought they were going to be priced a lot higher than they were. So I'm really impressed with the pricing, and I thought they were a very good deal and priced appropriately. Okay, so now I'm going to unload my mat, and it's all set to go. So I'm going to flip it over so that we can start weeding out our design. Okay, so I'm going to weed out all of the areas that I do not need in my final design. So if you have never weeded out infusible ink, you simply want to start by just rolling the product, and this really helps. If you hear a little crackling sound, that's just perfect because that is going to help weed out the pieces. And you don't need any tools. You can use tools if you like, but you need to be careful if you're using a weeding tool or tweezers because you do not want to scratch the infusible ink. I always just use my fingers and it is just fine and it's just as effective. So I'm just removing the areas that I do not need. And it looks like everything is preheated because this has turned green, so that's exciting. I must have missed the chime. I'm like so distracted because I'm so excited. Okay, so now I need to also remove this section here and this section here. And I find it really helpful if you just bend it and then pull out the area that you want to remove. So now I'll go through and do the letters. Okay. And also the Infusible ink sheets are fairly dull in comparison to the preview that the box shows, so don't worry, they brighten up and take on their actual color or tone once they are pressed. Although, honestly, I would be happy with this tone because I love more muted and pastel tones. Okay, so I have one side ready to go, and I'll go ahead and weed the rest of my little pieces for the design on the other side. Okay, so one thing I did notice is that it's supposed to cut out tabs, and I see where it was trying to, but it did not quite cut all the way through, so mine do not have the tabs on the side, although I can see them, so I will just go ahead and cut those manually with my scissors. I'm not sure if my machine just wasn't cutting deep enough or what, but that is something I did notice, is that the tabs did not quite cut out at all for me on this one. Okay, so I just went ahead and cut because I could see the little cut lines for the tabs, so I made the little tabs myself. I probably just need to put a new blade in my machine because I have not replaced it yet and I've had it a year, so that probably just needs to be replaced. So I'll replace that before we do our next mugs. Okay, so now we are going to take a lint roller. Okay, so we are going to lint roll the mug. Even though they're brand new and just out of the box, we want to make sure there is no lint on the mug, so I'm just being thorough about that. Really want this to turn out just right. And now we will wrap the mug with our design. Okay, so I also have some heat resistant tape. I'm going to just prep a couple pieces just because I want to make sure that it's definitely on there. So now I'm just going to take my design, I'm going to place my mug with the handle facing me, and I'm going to wrap it around my mug. Just like that. And then I'm going to make sure that these sides visually line up together. I think that looks good. So with those tabs, they're sticky, so I can just stick those down and they will stick my design right to the mug. That looks great. Okay. Okay, so I'm actually really happy with how that is sticking to the mug. Just because I am a nervous Nilly, I'm going to add just a couple pieces of the heat resistant tape just to make sure, because I really want this to turn out perfectly. So I'm just going to add a couple little pieces there just to make sure everything is really stuck down. But again, I'm really impressed with how that feels. It feels really nice. Okay, so it's all ready to go. So now I can place my mug right into the machine. So they've recommended that you tilt it down just so that the little design doesn't actually snag on the interior. So just kind of put it in at an angle and then push it down. Okay, and there's no setting of any timer or anything. So I'm just gonna hold this and make sure that my image design has lined up, and I'm going to push that down. Okay, there we go. So it is down, it has beeped, and now it has started to flash. There are 5 little lights. I believe it's about 5 to 6 minutes, so there's no timer, there's no setting of any temperature. It's just going to do its thing, and it will beep when it is ready. It does also recommend that you are in a well-ventilated room when using this, so I wanted to mention that as well. So it's moved on to flashing to the 2 now. So while I'm waiting, I want to mention that so far, my first impressions are that I really love the simplicity of it. So you simply turn it on, the temperature is already set, it's going to time it for you. There's really nothing complicated about it. So that is my first impression of it so far, but we are now flashing 3 and I'm trying to be so patient as I wait for it to be done. So I have my Easy Press mat all ready because once we take it out, we will place it onto the Easy Press mat to allow it time to cool. It's going to be very hot. I have heard that the handle stays nice and cool, or cool to the touch, so we will be able to grab it by there. Looks like it's at the 5, so it's getting closer. Okay, so there it goes. So now we will just open up the little lever which releases everything. We will grab only by the handle because everything else will be very hot. And then we will patiently set it aside and wait for it to cool. Okay, Okay, so this has completely cooled, so it is just barely warm, and I can go ahead and remove my tape and my transfer sheets to reveal the final design. Okay. Oh my goodness, that is so cute. And it did a perfect job. I love that. I would have switched this over a little bit more. So I'm not sure that I necessarily agree with that center line on the little template as much as I was relying on it. But that turned out so pretty. What do you guys think? Very, very cute. I love the colors. They are so vibrant. Okay, so let's go ahead and do our next two mugs. Oh, and I also want to mention that I looked inside and there is no ink remaining, so it did a perfect transfer. Okay, so again, back on the home screen of Cricut Design Space, I'm going to do mug design setup. This time I am going to do the smaller cups, so I'll be doing 12-ounce cups, and I am going to do the small scalloped edge. I'll click that. The little preview is so cute. I'm making these for my girls, so I will now say customize. Okay, so again, I'm going to step it up here and we are going to get a little bit more complex and fun. We are going to do the whole wrap and it's going to turn out really cute. At least I hope it is. Okay, so we are not going to need this pen at all. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete that because there needs to be no alignment with this next design. Okay, so that is gone. The next thing I'm going to do is come over to images and I am going to search for Peeps. And I have used this file a couple times already and I'm going to use it again coming up in an Easter tutorial because it is one of my favorites. It's so cute. So I'm going to bring this in. Again, in this video today, we are only working on one color designs. So we will be doing multiple color designs in the next tutorial where we use more sheets of Infusible ink and layer them so we can have really colorful designs. So make sure you're subscribed for that. But again, we'll do just one color for the mugs today. So the first thing I want to do is weld this image together because now we're going to do a lot of slicing. And as a reminder, you can only slice 2 layers at a time. If you need help with slicing, I'll place a video in the top corner of this video so that you can go watch that and get familiar with slicing. Okay, so to start slicing, I'm going to come over to Shapes, grab a square, and then I'm going to slice multiple times today. So I'm going to duplicate that square a couple times and set 2 off to the side. My goal is to have the 3 bunnies separate from one another. So what I will do is I will take my first square, I will cover the area that I want to remove. So I'm going to remove the words. So then I can select both layers. Again, 2 layers only can be sliced at a time, and I have 2 layers selected in the layers panel. I'll say slice with that slice button at the bottom of the layers panel, and then I can remove my little part of the design that I wanted off. Okay, again, we'll delete all of that. And now I'm going to separate these bunnies. So I'm simply going to cover the bunny that I want to take away. Okay, that looks good. You can either put the square on top or below, it does not matter. And then we can select both and slice. Then we're left with 2 bunnies, 1 bunny, which we will use over here, and this will be our little trash pile over here. Okay, then we'll take this and slice the final 2 bunnies apart. Boop, just like that. And now we have 3 bunnies. Okay, so now we can get rid of all of our trash here and we can make all of this bigger. Now, as a reminder, we do not want to resize our template because our template is sized perfectly for our mug. So don't do any resizing there. All I did was resize the actual size of my screen so I could really see what I'm doing here. So now what I want to do is I want to wrap my entire mug with little bunnies and then I'm going to add a little monogram. So I think the first thing I want to do is I want to make my bunnies just a tad smaller. So I'm going to size them all at the same time so they're consistent. Think about there. Let's see. That should be just about right. Okay, so if you'll notice, let's make these black so we can really see some contrast. If you'll notice, they all have different little faces on them, which is so cute. So we have one with their eyes open, one winking, and one taking a little snooze, I guess. So we want to just make sure that we separate them along the mug so that there is a good variety. So I'm going to take the first one. I can go ahead and rotate it, and I'll bring that over to my little mug here and just put that where I would like it. Then we'll take our little sleeping one and bring that here. I might just tilt just a little, bring this up a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to wrap the entire mug. So what I want to do is, some of my bunnies are actually going to fall off the edge, and that's just fine. That's actually intended. So I'm going to bring that little bunny up here, bring him here, and now you can either click on each bunny and say duplicate, or what I like to do on my Mac keyboard is say Control C to copy, then Control V to paste, and then you have your little bunny pasted and duplicated for you. So I'll bring another bunny right down here. Then I can have another bunny just have the little ears poking out right here. Okay, then let's do this little open-eyed bunny. We'll just bring him here. That looks really cute. I almost think, before I continue, I almost think they might be a tad too big, so I'm going to bring them down just a hair more. Okay. Okay, so I like that. Now you can use any design that you like. I thought this would be a really fun little idea, but you could wrap with hearts. There is a pre-made design that Cricut has done where they have wrapped with coffee beans, which is adorable. But I thought this would be really, really cute for my girls. And when I told them I was making them coffee mugs, they of course said, but we don't drink coffee. So I had to remind them that this is for hot cocoa only. Okay. Okay, so I have my little bunnies arranged how I'd like them, and now I want to add a monogram just so we know whose cup is whose, even though I'm going to make them different colored mugs. So I'm going to come over to text. Again, I'm going to use Kate's ABC's Baby Girl. It's one of my favorites. And for this first one, I'm going to do a C. And again, I only need one layer of that font, so I'll delete the other layer, and I will place that C right on the mug here. I'll bring this down just a little bit so that that C is kind of centered on that scallop a little bit better. Okay, and I think that looks good to me. So I'll just make any final tweaks that I need to, and I really like how that has turned out. So now we are going to do things in a certain order here. So just follow with me. If you're going to recreate something like this, just play and pause when you need to, and you will be able to do this in no time. So I'm going to take my back template, scoot it out of the way. Again, not resizing or anything, just scooting it. Then I'm going to take this entire piece, just like this. I am going to actually group it together. Okay, now I am going to duplicate it and hide the duplicated version. And I'm doing that because I'm going to come back in and switch that initial to a K. So I want to make sure I have another copy of that ready. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my entire design and I'm going to weld it together. I'm welding it together because my next step that I'm going to do is I'm going to bring back my design, my little template, and I'm going to slice all the bunnies out of my little scalloped template. So again, you can only slice 2 layers at a time. So that's why we want to weld all of those layers together, because remember, they were multiple layers of bunnies and an initial. So we can't slice them when they are that many layers. So now they are 1 layer. And now what we can do is we can take the weld result, which is 1 layer of bunnies, and we can take the small scalloped mug wrap, select both of those, and we can say slice. Okay, so now what we have is we have the end pieces all taken off. We can delete that. We have our original piece. We can take that off and delete because we have duplicated it for our next mug. And then we have this piece, which is our final piece. So we'll take this piece off and delete. Okay, now what I'd like to do is I would like to make sure this is lined up once more. So I'm going to take both those. I'm going to say align, center. Okay, so now everything has been centered together. Okay, so we are all ready to go. The last step is taking our Infusible ink design and then our little sheet behind it, and we are going to attach it together. Okay, the joy is selected. You can use any machine. we'll say make it, and it's the same as last time. We are going to do on a mat, click done. We are going to mirror our image, so we'll turn that little switch on and say continue, and then we will browse all materials and do Infusible ink and select Infusible ink transfer sheets. Say done, and then I'm going to load my material and cut. Okay, so opening up my next pack of Infusible ink, and again, this is going to be a mint, but you can see how different that is compared to the box. So again, as you saw with the first one, it definitely takes on its color after it has been heated and pressed. Okay, so again, using my brayer tool, and the ink is ink side up, so you want to make sure your ink is faced in the correct direction when cutting, and then I will load it into my tray. And while that is cutting, I will go ahead and again use my lint roller to make sure there is no lint on the surface of the mug. Again, this is straight out of the box, but you still want to take this step to make sure it's completely clean. Okay, so I did change my blade between my first and my second mug, so I have a fresh blade, and it looks like that is what I needed to do. My blade was just not quite good enough still. But you know what? That blade made it an entire year. I just bought my Joy last March, so I'm impressed with that. That makes me happy. Okay, so now I can start weeding my design. So that is what it's supposed to look like when it's weeded, or when it's has the little tabs. So then you just take off those side pieces. There's our cute little scallops coming to life. How sweet is that? And now I get the fun job of weeding all of this out, which actually I do enjoy. I like to weed, so this part I find relaxing. Okay, again, just bend the material and then you can pull out the little pieces. So easy. Okay, so I'm really happy with the size of those bunnies. I was unsure when I was deciding on the sizing for the bunnies, but I really, really like how they're turning out. Sometimes it's hard to visualize on the screen what it's really going to turn out like size-wise sometimes, but I love how this is looking. I also want to mention that I changed my idea for my first mugs and their designs so many times this week while I was waiting for the mug press to come out, because I was so excited, and am so excited, that I just had so many ideas floating around, which is why I have mentioned it before, but I will mention again, everybody is getting mugs until Kingdom Come, because we have lots of mugs and lots of inspiration in this craft space. Okay, so this has been fully weeded. It looks really, really good. And now what I'm going to do is I like to place my mug handle facing me. I'm finding that that is something that I really think is helpful with lining everything up. And then I want to make sure that these pieces visually line up with one another. So just bring that over where I need to. So I'm finding that I like to place the tape down on one side, and then I like to really just tightly wrap that second side and then place the second side. But whatever works for you when it comes to wrapping, that's just something that I found on my first mug that I thought felt a little bit better to me. Okay, and then I'm just going to turn it and make sure that I like what I see there. Looks good. Okay, and of course, because I'm nervous, I'm going to just put a little tape there, but I do think it feels really secure. Okay, again, at a tilt, I'm going to place that into my press, place it all the way down, and then I'm holding the handle to make sure that the press inside lines up and covers my entire design. Looks good. And go all the way down, and now it will press. Okay, so I noticed that it just started flashing, but I didn't hear a chime this time. So now what I'm going to do is open it up and then pull it up from the handle and place it on my mat to cool. Okay, so this one has cooled, and I went ahead and did the third one with another initial on it. So we'll have another pink mug with some bunnies on it. But I want to see how this mint one turned out. Away. Oh my gosh. Oh, that is so cute. Oh my gosh. That is so cute. I love it. I love the color so much. I'm so thankful that I thought of this design at the last minute. It is so cute. Okay, so I do notice a little bit of discoloration at the top, but nothing that I am worried about. It's actually only in this little section and this little section right here. And on my tape, that actually corresponds with what I'm seeing on my transfer sheets, where I have a little bit of discoloration on those sides as well. But nothing that ruined the look of the mug. I think it looks so good. So the exact same idea with a different initial and a different color is in the press right now, and I'll reveal it in just a minute. Okay, so let's chat a little bit about my first experience with the mug press, and here is my honest review. So let's talk about pros and cons. So the cons are, it's a little bit of an investment to start out with. So it's about $200 for the machine, and then of course you need to buy some mugs that will work with it as well. So the Cricut offers the mugs that you saw here today. I use the Cricut ones. Quite honestly, while it is a little bit of an investment, I do think it is 100% worth it. I think that it's really priced appropriately in my opinion, because look how these turn out. They are now dishwasher and microwave safe. This ink is now permanent on there. It looks perfect. They were so fun to make. And so honestly, I think that the investment is definitely worth it. Another con, for me at least, is I think that the infusible ink colors can be somewhat limiting. So when you're using vinyl, then of course you have a lot of different colors, endless colors to choose from and endless styles to choose from. But for me, I think that infusible ink kind of tends towards more of the primary colors, although I am in love with this mint color and I will be buying all of the rolls. So if you can't find it, it's because it's in my craft room. But I think that infusible ink, I'm hoping that they come out with a lot more colors now that they have yet another product that is using it. So that is the only other con that I can really think of, is that the colors are a little bit more limited with the infusible ink. Okay, so the pros are that these are dishwasher and microwave safe, so that is wonderful. There's no more disclaimers when you are giving your friends and family mugs, because you don't have to worry about them putting them in the dishwasher. You don't have to worry about any type of care instructions. They also state some care instructions on the bottom, so it does say dishwasher and microwave safe, so that's really awesome, and then it has their little logo on the bottom. The other pro for this is that this was so easy to do. I thought this was very beginner friendly, very easy to do. Again, this was my very first time using this in front of you today. I hadn't used it at all. I had just unboxed it and registered it, and then I pressed record. So I thought this was so easy to use. I was very impressed. I felt confident the whole way through, and I think that the final results for how easy that was are completely stunning. And my final pro for this Cricut Mug Press is that it is adorable. And honestly, that kind of matters to me a little bit, and I know that that is a little silly to say, but have you seen some of the other mug presses out on the market? They're really not very cute at all. So I love how cute this is. I love how adorable it is. It's very sleek. It's very attractive looking, which I really like about it. I also really like that I don't have to store it away when I'm done. It's something that looks just as pretty as my machine, so I can place it out in my craft room, and I know that it's going to be super cute on one of my shelves. And I know that that is really silly to say when talking about how cute something is or what something looks like, but I actually really do appreciate when a product has been really well thought out visually. Okay, so my final review of this is that I absolutely love it. I think it's super fun, super easy to use. I purchased this with my very own money, and I think that this is going to be an amazing addition to my craft space. I am so excited to have this be a part of my craft room, and I'm really excited that I stayed up till midnight last night and was able to reserve my own for curbside pickup, because this was so fun to do. So let's go ahead and do the final mug. This again is the same bunny design, but this is going to be out of a pink infusible ink. And I will be sure to link all of the materials that I used in the description box below this video, so that you can recreate any of these looks if you find that you would like to. Okay. Oh my goodness, I love this pink. Okay, so I'm going to have to buy all of the pink and all of the mint because that is completely up my alley. So I was mentioning that I found the Infusible ink, you know, to be more in the primary colors area or hue. I'm not sure how to say it, but I always feel like they're very vibrant and pretty primary, but every once in a while you do come across a color that is just perfect. But that is just me. I really gravitate obviously towards the pastels and lighter tones, so I will definitely be buying more of this pink and more of this green. These are so cute. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this was helpful. If you did get a Cricut Mug Press, please be sure to let me know. If you're still thinking about it and have some questions, let me know as well. Again, this was my very first time using the Mug Press. It just came out of the box and I am completely in love with it. So I hope this was helpful to you. Be sure you're subscribed because the next tutorial I will be doing, we will be making mugs with multiple colors, and I cannot wait to show you the ideas I have for those. They are very cute. All right, everyone, I will see you in the next video. Be sure you are subscribed and also give this a thumbs up if you think that these turned out super cute.